Keep in mind there's certain words I can't say on here so that my video doesn't get taken down. We're going to talk in code, so try to keep up. So, back on the stand was Daniel Phillips, the male stripper, and defense attorney Xavier Donaldson asked Phillips if he was establishing a bond with Cassie. He said yes. He then asked him, "Do you think you guys were in a relationship?" And he said no. He clarified the only time he saw Cassie was when he was paid and hired for these events. He testified about a situation where Cassie was scared and shaking after Diddy had hit her. He said that when Diddy left the room, the two of them, Daniel Phillips and Cassie, started to make out and were moving into the direction of intercourse. He said that as soon as Diddy walked back in the room, he lost his desire. He was also asked about a statement that he allegedly made to prosecutors that when these two would have intercourse, it would make him jealous. But Daniel Phillips said he doesn't recall ever saying that. They then did a brief redirect, and Daniel Phillips is finished with his testimony. Next on the stand was Cassie, and the defense lost their motion for her to be seated before the jury, so they did see that she is very much pregnant. She tells jurors that Diddy was often violent to her during their 10-year relationship. She says, yes, there were violent arguments, usually resulted in physical abuse, dragging different things. He would mash my head, knock me over, drag me, and kick me. Asked how often, she said frequently. They said that minutes taking the stand, she was already getting emotional. They had asked her and showed her still images about the hotel video. She says, yes, that's me and Sean at the Intercontinental. She says we were having an encounter that we called freak-offs. She described the freak-offs as an encounter where she would be told by Diddy to perform for him and a third party, usually an escort. He would direct us on what we were to be doing. He said that he used to order the escorts, but eventually it became her job and she had to do it. She said she was a confused 22-year-old when Diddy asked her to do these things. I was 22 at the time. My stomach churned. I didn't have a concept of how that would be a turn on, but I accepted the responsibility. I was confused, nervous, but also loved him very much and wanted to make him happy. It wasn't something I wanted to be doing, especially as regularly as it became, but again, I was in love and wanted to make him happy. She was 19 when she signed a deal with Bad Boy Records. She says he was larger than life, a fan of music, didn't know much about him personally. When I signed the contract at 19, it was a 10-album deal, released an album later that year in 2006, and that would be the only album she released with Bad Boy. Cassie then testifies about the time that he kissed her on her 21st birthday in a bathroom at the VMAs. She says, I was confused. I was a new artist. I wasn't used to an executive or anyone being that forward with me in more than a just friends way. I remember running out back and back to my hotel and telling someone about it. She says after that incident, Cassie went to see him a handful of times at the Trump Hotel in Manhattan, where they discussed her music career and started to develop a comfortable relationship. During those meetings, he introduced her to the idea of oral, teaching her how to perform it and giving it to her. She said, he made me feel crazy for not reciprocating. At the time, I didn't understand that kind of relationship. I was in a relationship with someone else. I was just young and didn't have the vocabulary of some of the things that we talked about. I was just trying to understand it, just completely inexperienced. The first time they had intercourse was on a boat in Miami. She was drinking wine and started to take rugs. She says she was given a blue dolphin pill. Sean gave it to me. I had never taken it before. I was just out of it laughing. I didn't know what it was until later. She says it gave her a euphoric feeling, sensitive to touch, and all of your senses. Cassie says that Sean was in a relationship with Kim Porter when they started their physical relationship. And I just want to add, you know that their kids are in the courtroom. It was said yesterday that the twins left the courtroom early. Cassie says that after that time in Miami, they started to spend more time together, but their relationship was not public for many years. He just didn't want it to look bad, but also knew it was because of the kids and personal things like his family. Cassie described Sean as unpredictable, saying his mood swung different ways quite a bit. Make the wrong face, and next thing I knew, I would get hit in the face, or he would say, "Watch your mouth." Cassie lived in multiple homes across Southern California, and Sean made it a point of making unannounced visits. He would, depending on his mood, just pop in and out without notice to check in on her. She said her stomach would be in knots. She didn't know how the visit would go usually. She said at one point freak offs became her job and there was no space to do anything else. Staying out for days on end, taking rugs, drinking, and having smacks with strangers. She said they would be 36, 48, 72 hours at the longest. One was 4 days long. She said the freak offs took priority over releasing music. Sean decided I could not release another album. At this point, they break for lunch. Make sure you're following me. Come back this afternoon for the rest of the court update.